Ladies and gentlemen, the following segment of the podcast is presented exclusively by the Heritage Foundation. For 52 years, Heritage has fought tirelessly for America's founding principles and advancing conservative public policies. Much more than a think tank, Heritage is a conservative policy powerhouse, fighting for the everyday American to advance common sense policies and dismantle the D.C. bureaucracy. Our founding fathers gave us an extraordinary system of government, and the Heritage Foundation is dedicated to defending the heritage and carrying on their legacy for future generations. So get involved by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda by visiting heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Did you know publishing classified information is a crime, Mr. Producer? You know this, under the Espionage Act. They might say, but what about reporters? It doesn't make any difference. Reporters have been prosecuted for doing exactly that. The Espionage Act. We've heard enough about the Espionage Act, haven't we, folks? Yeah, they tried to apply it against President Trump, for crying out loud. But if a reporter publishes classified information, that reporter, at least arguably, and I would say strongly, can be considered as violating the Espionage Act. So let's take a listen to Jeffrey Goldberg on Meet the Depressed Sunday. The media cannot get enough of this, and they keep pushing it. The leakers keep going to Axios and Politico, to radical left-wing sites, and that's because the leakers and the radical left-wing agree. They agree that America is responsible for Iran wanting to have a nuclear weapon. America is responsible for Russia invading Ukraine. America is responsible for communist China wanting to muscle up and take over Taiwan. The America hate crowd pretending they're the America love crowd. Kristen Welker is a phony, a fraud, and a fake. She's the moderator, so-called, of Meet the Depressed. She's no Tim Russert. She's no Joel Spivak. Well, she could be a Chuck Todd, though, but that's his problem. Cut one, go.
Do you believe the information on that group chain was classified?
By the way, look at the drama. Now, you know he does. He's already said he does. That's the Jeffrey Goldberg. And so, do you believe it was classified? Go ahead.
Answer it this way. When the texts are coming over as I'm watching them unfold.
Now, this is what gets me. So he's there. He doesn't tell them, hey, look, I shouldn't be here. Stop sending me texts. I'm out of here, but you need to fix this. He's sitting there, knowing he's not supposed to be there, reading the texts as, quote-unquote, they unfold. So he's not a patriot. And he's not gathering the information for Snoop because he doesn't use the information in real time. And if he had used it in real time, he would have been prosecuted. Go ahead.
7:44 a.m. On a Saturday, Pete Hegseth is promising that U.S. warplanes are taking off in 30 minutes to bomb enemy targets that we know are protected by anti-aircraft batteries. Okay? So if that's not the most sensitive information, the most secret information in the world, I simply don't know what the meaning of classified or secret or top secret is.
Okay, so here he's confessing. Because now it's Sunday, yesterday. He's already put out 2 articles. One, the fact of the texting. The second, some of the information, not most of it, within the texting. He hung on to gather it. And then he published it. And he insists, if that's not classified information or top secret information, then I don't know what is. Now, maybe it is and maybe it's not. He still didn't. He said they're going to bomb in 2 hours. Again, we don't have sites, we don't have tactics, but it's okay. Let's say it is. Let's say it is. Shouldn't this man now be questioned? Certainly by me. You know what, Mr. Producer, let's make a request for Jeffrey Goldberg to be interviewed by me on radio here about the classified information that he insists was on the texts, and I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to dispute it. I just need to know more about it. I need to know what he did with it. I want to know where he stored it. I want to know if he shared it with anybody else. He shared some in his publication, and why shouldn't he be prosecuted under the Espionage Act? These are very simple questions. I don't think they should be viewed as provocative, Mr. Producer. What, just because the left-wing media doesn't ask? Whoever knowingly publishes or uses in any manner prejudicial to the safety and the interests of the United States is subject to prosecution. And it's not like it was an accident on his part. It was an accident on the part of those who were texting, but not his, because he waited. He listened in. You hear what he says. He was watching them as the texts were coming in. He obviously printed them out, referenced them in one publication, and the next time it was published, quoted from them to insist that they're classified. Now, he insists they're classified. I saw, who else? Fox's reporter insisted they're classified. Over at MSNBC and CNN, they insisted they're classified. I saw Mark Warner. He insists it's classified. I think every Democrat insists it's classified. So it seems to me it's an open and shut case about Jeffrey Goldberg. The question is whether any senator or Republican in the House or the Senate has any guts to push this, or whether the Department of Justice does. That's the question. By the way, a side note, as somebody who did work at the Department of Justice for some time at the highest level, and the Attorney General and I and others worked very closely with the FBI, with the director of the FBI. We knew about big-time cases as they were happening, especially in the international front, especially in the front involving politicians, because they would come to us. That is, the FBI. People need to understand, there are lightweights, grifters, all forms of malcontents on the internet, blogging or what have you. Where are the prosecutions right now? Where are they? Of XYZ and ABC. They're there. They've been there what? 4 weeks? I think Bongino got sworn in 2 weeks ago. Cash got sworn in 3 or 4 weeks. Where is it? It doesn't work that way over there. Well, it's supposed to. No, it's not. Unless you want these guys to get set up by the career FBI types in the mid-level or higher-level positions. You got to build your cases so they don't backfire. This is a criminal matter. This isn't about somebody going on TV and popping off, or somebody going on radio and popping off, or somebody in boxer shorts with a 5-day growth on their face, shoving M&Ms in their mouth at 4 a.m, blogging and complaining about, let's say, a Cash or a Bongino or somebody. Why hasn't this happened already? So ignore those people. They're ignoramuses. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they would blow up every single case. They would. They would blow up every single case. And so I want somebody to tell me why the Espionage Act does not apply to Jeffrey Goldberg. It's nothing to do with the First Amendment, nothing to do with the fact that he's a reporter. That's all been litigated in the past. People have spent a lot of time in jail for refusing to give up information just over leaks. This is bigger than a leak. This is Jeffrey Goldberg announcing, insisting, printing, going on TV again and insisting that this was classified information. So it's not a hard case. It's not a hard case at all. I'm not running interference. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm watching this. The guy just confessed over and over again, and that's why I want him to come on the show, and I want to talk to him about this. I don't think he will, but he's certainly welcome to. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our Founding Fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. And we have Senator Mark Warner. He's a complete reprobate. Look how they spread out. So you have Goldberg on Meet the Press. You have Warner on ABC this week. You also have Warner on Face the Nation. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there are big things going on in this country and in the world. Very big, serious things. This is not one of them. Nothing happened as a result of this. It's being investigated. It'll be fixed. So they're trying to turn this into something that it's not. And we're not spending all evening on it either. But I've got to push back as only I can. I'll let you know about this Jeffrey Goldberg if we even hear from him. So here's Mark Warner on ABC this week. He was also on Face the Nation. I think he was on with Shannon Breen too, wasn't he, Mr. Producer? I mean, he was hitting all the Sunday shows. All the Sunday shows. Almost all of them. Because they're trying to turn this into a scandal that takes down Trump, that we have resignations with Hegseth, maybe Waltz. That's what's going on here. Cut 3, go.
There have been very strong denials from the administration that there was anything classified. So quite simply, was this classified information or not?
Absolutely. It was of such a nature when you were doing the actual battle plans and the timing, what type of aircraft are being sent.
Not to split hairs here, but the Secretary of Defense has the power, as a matter of federal statute, to classify and declassify. So Warner knows this, Raditz knows it. They've been around long enough time. So basically, if the Secretary of Defense is revealing something, he can say it is or is not classified. You're not talking about documents. So, they didn't stamp classified on it. It doesn't go through a whole array of bureaucrats to determine whether it's classified or not. So it is somewhat of a nebulous area, to be perfectly honest with you. It's certainly not cut and dry like they're trying to make it. But that said, they're making it cut and dry, and I'm saying by doing so, Mr. Goldberg could be a prosecution target. There's simply no question about this. Go ahead.
If you had been a traditional military officer or a CIA caseworker, and you were this sloppy and careless with this classified information, you would be fired.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Robert Malley was the envoy to Iran in this administration at a senior level, prior administration, I should say. He wasn't fired. In fact, one of his underlings, there were serious issues raised, and I did a whole show on this Saturday on Life, Liberty, and Levin, but you folks know about this, was back-channeling to the Iranians. Not only wasn't she fired, she got a promotion, a significant position at the Department of Defense. So this guy's a fraud, and he's a liar, Mark Warner. Not only that, Mark Warner didn't demand any heads. He didn't demand any resignations. He didn't demand any investigations. And even now, when I was here I am on national radio all over the world. Over the weekend, I'm on national TV, Fox, all over the world. He knows what I'm saying. He knows this to be true. He said nothing about Malley. That involves nuclear weapons, ladies and gentlemen. He said nothing. He said nothing about the underlings. He didn't write letters. He didn't demand resignation. He didn't do any of this. Neither did any of these Democrats. Not one of them. None of them. Go ahead.
Signal is safer than your normal cell phones. It is encrypted. But if Ms. Bondi had looked at any of the guidance from the intelligence community, which states explicitly, do not use Signal for classified information.
Now, if that's true, then our folks were set up. Because the Secretary of Defense, National Security Advisor, and the rest of them, folks, they're not involved in setting up the call. They can be involved in, here are the numbers, we need these people on the call. But they have the so-called experts and security personnel around them. And if they didn't think Signal was good, then they should have set it up a different way. I've never heard that you're not supposed to use Signal. I never have. And neither is Warner. What Warner's doing now is he's going back, he's looking for arguments, they're contacting people who will give them the arguments that they want, that there's guidance from the intelligence community. Says, do not use Signal for classified information. Well, then what do you use it for, Rich? What do you use encrypted phone calls if not to discuss something that's classified? I don't understand. Neither does he. It doesn't matter. He's a fraud and a phony. Go ahead.
I use Signal to talk to someone.
She asked him, do you use Signal? He says, I use Signal to talk to someone because it's safer. Go ahead.
I actually encourage people to use Signal, but that still doesn't mean because it's safer, you can put classified information.
Yeah, but you sit on a committee. You were the chairman, and now you're the ranking chairman, ranking member, and I guarantee you use Signal to discuss classified information. I'd bet everything on it. Everything. How about this, Senator Warner, since you're putting yourself out there and making allegations and propositions on your own, how about you provide your phone in which you use Signal to the Inspector General at the Department of Defense? Obviously, you're not required to. You're a senator, but why don't you do that? Lead by example so we can all take a peek. All you guys are so sinister and outrageous. Cut 4, go.
David Martin, my exceptional colleague here at CBS, has reported that the Israelis are furious about this because they believe those who would read that could sort of backward engineer that and find something out that they shouldn't find out.
I have a feeling the Israelis are not furious with the United States. I don't care who Martha, whomever it was, spoke to. I know the Prime Minister is very grateful to the United States and the President of the United States and everything that's done. And it's funny you should bring up the Israelis. When a CIA agent, right under the nose of the CIA in Virginia, Langley, actually leaked their war plans against Iran under Biden. Folks, I need to talk to you about something crucial to the future of America. Our friends at the Heritage Foundation are on the front lines fighting for our conservative values. Heritage is dedicated to promoting policies that will help bolster our economy, protect our borders, and uphold the rule of law. They're working tirelessly to defend our Constitution and the principles that make America exceptional. To help accomplish this, they need you to complete their national survey on President Trump's agenda today. So you can participate in this survey by going to heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Your responses are crucial to this survey, and they'll provide Heritage leadership with crucial feedback as they work closely with the folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. By completing this very important survey today, you're standing up for the values that have made this country great. And my friends at Heritage need you to act now to maximize their impact on President Trump's first 100 days. So please don't wait. Our future depends on you. Together, we can make a difference, and future generations inherit a nation that is free, prosperous, and strong. So please, right now, visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin, complete your survey, and join the fight for America's future. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation.
Mark Levin, the great one.
The great one, Mark Levin.
Dial in now, 877-381-3811.
So this was all weekend. You had Amy Klobuchar on MSNBC. You had Alex Padilla on MSNBC. You had Chris Coons on CNBC. They were just lining up, doing their thing. I didn't even see this here, Mr. Producer. What's going on with Roger Marshall? I think I should play this cold. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I eviscerated this man because of his buffoonery, and worse, when it comes to Qatar. Qatar spends more money on spreading terrorism, it turns out, than Iran. And they're spreading it in our country. They're spreading it overseas. In fact, a lot of the Arab countries want nothing to do with Qatar or their state-owned Al Jazeera, which also spreads the word of terrorists. And Qatar has given an enormous amount of money, more than any other country, to Hamas. And Qatar was a safe haven for 5 of the leaders of Hamas, all of whom were billionaires. And Qatar, when October 7th happened, blamed Israel. Qatar, when the negotiations for the hostages fail, they blame Israel, despite the fact that their buddy Witkoff's there and the president's involved and everybody's trying to get Hamas to give the hostages back. They won't. Qatar also spends an enormous amount of money buying Americans, buying American institutions, loaning money to American businessmen, hiring some of the big firms in Washington, D.C. and New York. So many people, Republicans and Democrats, are tainted by Qatar's money. These reports are everywhere. I've explained them to you in great detail. So apparently this guy, Marshall, responds on KCMO with our buddy Pete Mundo. Let's take a listen. I haven't heard this, and I'll respond myself. Cut 8, go.
You respond to Mark Levin and his comments last week here on KCMO and across the country.
Yeah, Pete, well, first of all, no one's been more pro-Israel than I have.
Oh, yes, they have. A whole lot of people have been more pro-Israel than you. I don't even know what you're talking about. How can you be pro-Israel and pro-Qatar? It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. First of all, 90% of America don't even know who the hell you are. But that said, when you're thinking of supporting Israel, Roger Marshall's name doesn't come right to the forefront. But that's not even the point, whether you're pro-Israel. Did I say anything about that, Mr. Producer? Did I ever bring up Israel? I said you're pro-Qatar. And Qatar is spending enormous sums of money, billions in the United States, trying to influence our country, destroying our college campuses, funding these terrorist front groups and organizations that support them. That's a fact. Go ahead.
Taught in Sunday school, taught by my parents as well. no one fought harder against anti-Semitism than I have.
I don't know what the hell you're doing about it, Senator. And I don't know how you can support a country that has spent billions of dollars promoting anti-Semitism, and then you get on our sister station, KCMO, and talk about nobody's done more to fight anti-Semitism than you. You do understand, don't you, sir, that Al Jazeera is owned by Qatar? You do understand Qatar is funding anti-Semitism in the United States of America? You want me to lay it out for you personally? Go ahead.
I think I was the first one to call for this anti-Semitism commission and trying to get some Kansans actually to lead that commission as well.
Again, how can you do both? You're almost ridiculous. You're defending the country that is spending the most money promoting anti-Semitism in the United States of America, and then you say, I want a commission to look into it. Guess what? I'm just telling you what's taking place. You don't need a commission, sir. You need to cut it out. You, personally. But he won't. Go.
Qatar, I want your listeners to remember what they've done for America. Let's go back to the debacle of the Afghanistan evacuation. 120,000 people were evacuated in an emergency situation. Qatar opened up the airfield base, which they've given to the United States since 9/11.
All right, let's stop. Qatar is the biggest supporter of the Taliban. They promoted the Taliban. When the Biden debacle occurred, they gave us the military base. No, we use the land there. We pay for that military base, Senator. Pathetic. That's number one. Number two, Qatar was asked to help because Qatar deals with the Taliban. Don't you get it? And so people came out of Afghanistan. They weren't Americans, the vast majority of them, 120,000. They were Afghans. They were Afghans. He says, look what they did for America. They didn't do anything for America, almost nothing. So there they are supporting the Taliban, helping fund the Taliban. The Taliban killed 13 of our soldiers, wounded God knows how many, still have American hostages. They've let 2 out. They've slaughtered men and women who've worked with us over there, and we're supposed to thank the Taliban for what they did. When we flew on our cargo jets, Afghanis out of there to try and save them on our military base in Qatar. You feel like thanking the Qataris for this, America? Go ahead.
People touched that Air Force base on their way home. Without that, I think thousands of Americans would have died. I think about Qatar's role.
Thousands of Americans would have died, Mr. Producer. Thousands. Did thousands of Americans get out on those days? I don't remember that. Do you, Rich? I think there was a plane of 1 or 2 or something. There weren't thousands. This guy's really messed up. Really messed up. Go ahead.
Being American hostages, Qatar largely responsible for that. Over 100 Israeli hostages released, basically by the efforts of Qatar.
You hear this? If it wasn't for Qatar, those hostages wouldn't be released. Now, you and I have been watching this closely. And by the way, he says he's a big supporter of Israel. That's not why they're released, because of Qatar. They were released because of President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Not because of Qatar, you moron. Largely due to Qatar. Boy, is this guy a stretch. Go ahead.
Everybody, that President Trump and his Middle East envoy both think that Qatar has been a great ally, a great helper as we try to find...
How come you don't answer any of the allegations? Instead, you're using the Qatari talking points. Why is it? Are they spending billions in the United States to promote anti-Semitism and destroy our college campuses and brainwash our kids? Yes or no? The answer is yes. How come he doesn't answer that? Have they been spending tens of billions of dollars all over the world for terrorism, Hamas, the Taliban, others? How come he doesn't answer that? Maybe he should be asked it. How come he's in an alliance with Iran that's building nuclear weapons? Is President Trump happy with that? Is Witkoff happy with that? Of course not. How come he doesn't answer that? Go ahead.
I think that we have to, as Americans, I think we do have some prejudice against people from the Middle East, especially Muslims.
Oh, listen to this. Oh, you are pathetic. So now it's racism. racism against Qataris. We Americans have some prejudice against people in the in the Middle East. Is that what it is, Rich? Is this guy sick? America, you're prejudiced against the Qataris, you're prejudiced against what they're doing, but not because they are who they are. It's ridiculous. Outrageous. So now he's smearing Americans. So, after defending the biggest source of terrorism funding in the world, probably just behind communist China, but it's not clear, for destroying our college campuses, for funding these front groups in the United States. Now he's saying if you have a problem with it, you're a racist. We do have some prejudice against people from the Middle East, especially Muslims. But guess what? Most Muslims don't even live in the Middle East. In Indonesia and other countries like that. And as far as I know, the United States, we have no problem with them. We're not talking about Muslims. We're talking about terrorists, Islamists, jihadis. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about jihadis, Islamists, that the Saudi Arabians have a problem with. Last time I checked, they're Muslim. That the Jordanians have a problem with. Last time I checked, they're Muslims. That the UAE, that the Bahrainians, that the Kuwaitis have a problem with. Last time I checked, they were Muslims. And last time I checked, Qatar has made an alliance with Iran. They're not Muslims. They're Persians. Does this guy sit on like the Foreign Relations Committee or something? Oh my God. This is unbelievable. This guy's interviewed. He's worse than I even realized. Go ahead.
The Qataris are basically a very peaceful group of people that value family, that value faith as well. So, I'm pro-Israel, but I'm also pro-American allies, and Qatar's been a great ally.
It's just
to
outrageous. He keeps bringing Israel up. I'm not bringing Israel up. I'm bringing up Qatar and America. What has he done to America? What has he done with the Taliban? What has he done with Iran? What's he done with Hamas? Qataris. Qataris may be exactly what he said. I'm talking about the inbreds who run the country. Them. Go ahead.
Especially since this Afghanistan withdrawal issue.
So would you say that they are not then sheltering any of these leaders? Is that your contention then?
Well, think about this. America asked Qatar to host the people that they're referring to. So America asked Qatar to do that for whatever reason. I think 20...
Wait a minute. We asked Qatar to host, excuse me, it's not hosting, to give safe haven to the leaders of Hamas? He's blaming America again. First, he's blaming you because you're racist. That's why you have a problem with Qatar. And now he's saying, we told Qatar to host them. We told them to do it. To host these terrorists. I don't know, Kansas. If it were me, I'd look for a guy to run against this guy. Republican, the primary. First of all, real conservative. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is part of the problem with this whole establishment, the ruling class. This is part of a huge problem. When you look terrorism in the face and you conduct yourself this way. I haven't defended anybody who's conducted themselves this way, regardless of party, administration, or anything of the kind. The numbers speak for themselves. The money, as Rush would say, follow the money. Tells you everything you need to know about Qatar. Really grotesque. Senator's dumber than I thought. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Listen, folks, if you're like me, you're passionate about protecting our American values. That's why I trust the Heritage Foundation. They're dedicated to promoting policies based on free enterprise, limited government, and traditional American values. The Heritage Foundation does more than just produce policy recommendations. They're mobilizing conservatives across the country. And right now, they need you to take action by completing their national survey on President Trump's agenda. Your responses to this survey will help guide Heritage leadership as they work closely with folks in Washington to promote your values, secure America's borders, and restore our freedoms. Here's what I want you to do. Visit heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin to complete your survey. It's very, very important. My friends at Heritage need you to act now to help them maximize the impact on President Trump's first 100 days. Heritage is committed to preserving our Founding Fathers' principles and ensuring that America remains a beacon of freedom and opportunity. So I know you won't sit on the sidelines. You'll get involved, please, today, and make your voice heard. Visit heritage.org/Levin. That's heritage.org/Levin. Please complete your survey today. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Great Heritage Foundation. So I was flying back from Florida. I've been broadcasting there for 2 weeks, trying to get some warmth and heat and do what I need to do. And guess who was on the plane with me, Mr. Producer? Bret Baier. Bret Baier's a good guy. I like Bret Baier a lot. He's a real newsman. I think when you look at Martha McCallum and Bret Baier, there's another Smith. What's Smith's first name? Sandra Smith, John, my mind. Who's she on with? John, what is his last name? Okay, we're all blanking out because we're tired. Anyway, John Roberts, that's who it is. These are really good news people. And there's others, too. In fact, there's many others. So this is it's really a great news network. And, you know, there is a distinction between the news people and the opinion people. That's the way it's supposed to be. You won't find that on MSLSD or the Constipated Newswork. You just won't. In fact, you won't find it on any of the big networks. People who give their opinion on Fox, they don't claim to be journalists or reporters or news people. In fact, like me, they probably cringe at the idea. Not to be offensive, I can't think of a more boring job in the world if you do it right. Now, if you don't do it right, you're just a hack. But if you do it right, I can't think of a more boring job in the world. Well, there are, but you know what I mean. At least from my perspective. We've got a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. I want to move on from this. Just know that they keep pushing the agenda here with the text. I think it's starting to die out, and I think in part because really behind this microphone, and thanks to you, we've been pushing back very, very hard. And I still want to interview this Jeffrey Goldberg, and I have a lot of questions for him. And it is amazing, isn't it? The so-called press doesn't interview even one of their own guys and have them walk through it. He talks about how long he was listening and everything, but I have a lot more questions that I would ask this guy. We'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. There are other elections, too, but two big ones tomorrow. One is the Florida 6th with Randy Fine. He will be on the program again in about 10 minutes. I want to make sure we help push that over the finish line with you. And in Wisconsin, that Supreme Court race is absolutely crucial to protecting two existing Republican seats. Plus, she's a nut. She's going to undo everything Scott Walker did. Scott Walker was on this program. He explained it. Senator Johnson, Ron Johnson, was on this program. He explained it. I've explained it. So if you live in Wisconsin, and we're all over the state of Wisconsin on this program, if you live in Wisconsin, you need to vote tomorrow. You need to vote like it's a presidential election, and same with the 6th District in Florida. Our buddy Mike Waltz's old seat with this gentleman, Randy Fine, who will be on in a few minutes. These are national elections. These aren't local elections. They affect the entire impact of the country. I saw something here that I think is very important. Let me pull it up. Give me a second here. At least the printer's working here, Mr. Producer. Everything's working here. Oh, by the way, huge storm coming through here now, Virginia, Northern Virginia. This storm has been in the west, the middle west. It's come up the south. I can tell you in Florida 2 nights ago, it was a massive storm with big winds. And I'm looking here, and I looked quickly. Thursday, Nashville's going to get slammed. Other parts of that area are going to get slammed. I mention that because I have family there. You got to be very, very careful because these are serious storms. And, you know, when I drive in these storms, I try not to, but, you know, try to get to your house, try to get to where you can. One of the things I worry about the most are these tree limbs falling on the car. Because if you live in an area where there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of tree limbs, so that's problematic. I want to salute Senator Grassley here, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Grassley. They have put out a bill already, legislation. There's going to be a very important hearing in the House Judiciary Committee with our buddy Chairman Jim Jordan, and he's talked about it on this program and on my Fox show the other night. This is a release from Grassley's committee. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley today introduced the Judicial Relief Clarification Act of 2025. The bill would limit federal court orders to parties directly before the court, ending the practice of universal injunctions and clarifying the constitutional role of the judicial branch. If they don't somehow figure out a way to put this onto a budget reconciliation bill, I don't know how they're going to get through the Senate with the filibuster. I'm just bringing that up. So they need to be not only substantively right on, they need to be procedurally very sharp and fair on what to do. For a number of years, says Grassley, but particularly in the last few months, we've increasingly seen sweeping orders for individual district judges that dictate national policy. So you know. Now, who's on the bill? Who are the sponsors, the co-sponsors? John Barrasso, Wyoming. Marsha Blackburn, Tennessee. Katie Britt, Alabama. Ted Budd, North Carolina. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana. John Cornyn, Texas. Kevin Kramer, North Dakota. Ted Cruz, Texas. Steve Daines, Montana. I met him a couple months ago. Really good guy. Lindsey Graham. You know, President Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham, but people are very upset about this. Not all people, some people. But the guy's been very loyal to President Trump. How can you dispute that, Mr. Producer? Very loyal to President Trump. So I'm inclined to support to support him too. We'll see how it goes, but I don't have this terrible animus toward this guy. I really don't, that some other people seem to. He'll drive you nuts. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he'll be on 17 sides of a two-side issue. But I have found when push really comes to shove, whether it's the border, whether it's the military, that sort of thing, he does the right thing. That's certainly my perspective. Bill Haggerty, Tennessee, doing a doing a great job. Jim Justice, West Virginia. John Kennedy. I love this guy, John Kennedy. I just wish he'd come on the show every now and then. Mike Lee, who thinks we should pull out of NATO because Turkey's run by a despot. I don't know what happened to Mike on this. Smart guy, but not on that. Cynthia Loomis, Wyoming. Roger Marshall. Ashley Moody, Florida. Bernie Moreno, our buddy. Eric Schmidt, our buddy. Tom Tillis. Tommy Tuberville. And there are others, too. This needs to be done. Notice there's not a single Democrat on there. Because the Democrats like judicial tyranny. Because the Democrats like tyranny, period. How can I put this without getting in trouble with Simon & Schuster, who I love, by the way? Some people attacked them. They have been nothing but supportive of me. They have never taken a single word or sentence or paragraph out of anything I've ever written. They just give me complete latitude, and the people over there are extremely professional. So maybe people have had other experiences or have other complaints. I'm just saying with me, they've been outstanding. Now, that said, I mean, I've done 10 books with them or 9 books with them. This new book I'm writing, I'm incredibly excited about it. It'll be the most concise book I've ever written. I'm not going to give you the title right now because I really don't want to get slapped down. And here's what they worry about. People changing the titles of books that are about to come out, people doing this, people doing that. And so we just want to keep it clean here. We want to keep it so it's, it's proper. So I'm very excited. I'm not done writing it. I'm almost done writing it, but I'm not done writing it. And I only bring it up in the context of things we're starting to talk about because, it brings to mind a number of things. I've done a lot of research on this book, but you know what I've done mostly on this book, Mr. Producer? My own thinking. Now, I do my own thinking on every book. But this book will have some endnotes, some footnotes, but fewer than usual. Fewer than usual, because the vast majority of what you're going to read here comes out of sort of a unique perspective that I wanted to put in the book. So we already have a publication date. I'm not going to go into all that right now because it's a while off, but I'm chomping at the bit to tell you. I really am. Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution limits courts in deciding cases or controversies. And, of course, the biggest problem is they don't care. They know all this. They know everything we say. And that's why what they're doing is utterly and completely diabolical. Diabolical. Lesley Stahl stalled out a long time ago. She was on 60 Minutes last night. She is a reprobate. She is a hanger-on. She's a hemorrhoid. A human hemorrhoid. We call them hemorrhoids here. Here she is, cut 9, go.
12 days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu resumed the bombing of Gaza, breaking a fragile ceasefire that was exceedingly popular with Israelis.
So stop right there. Now, folks, Netanyahu was negotiating with this guy Witkoff, with the president's support. The Egyptians were involved. Other people were involved. They tried. They couldn't get a deal. Listen to how horrendous this buffoon, this fool, Lesley Stahl. I deal with this guy, Roger Marshall. We talk about it, now we have this woman. It's just sick. 12 days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu resumed the bombing of Gaza, breaking a fragile ceasefire that was exceedingly popular with Israelis. It's just incredible to me that this clown, who should have been put out to pasture a long time ago, says things like this. Just awful. But she's illustrative of the radical left media in America, and by the way, in Israel too. Illustrative of it. This is how they talk. This is how they think. If we could only get Netanyahu out of the way. And then what? Terrorism has happened, a lot of it. When you had these leftist minority parties cobbled together with other minority parties with their prime ministers. It's not like they sit around, the terrorists, and say, oh, who's the prime minister? It's just horrendous. Lesley Marshall, grotesque. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Only 2 things in life are certain, death and taxes. Well, now there's a third certainty. If you're with the big wireless providers, You could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. That's right, Pure Talk, my sponsor, my cell phone company, is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Listen to this. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can keep your phone and your number. So do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/LEVIN to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/LEVIN, Levin, to start saving right now, today. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans, for Americans. All right, we're here with our friend Randy Fine, running for the House in Florida's 6th Congressional District. Randy, how's it looking today?
It's looking good. We have about we're at 47% Republicans to 38% Democrats, but we still have 83% of Republicans who still haven't voted, so we need them to go and vote tomorrow.
And remind the people in this district, your district, why this is so important.
Well, it's important because we have a razor-thin margin in the Florida House. And my opponent's very clear. He got endorsed by Bernie Sanders on Friday.
Senate.
And the
Congress.
Yeah.
You had said the Florida House in the Congress.
Oh, I'm sorry. Old habits die hard, so thank you.
Yeah,
and the Congress has a razor-thin margin. And my opponent's been very clear that if he gets elected, he's going to vote down the Trump agenda and try to impeach him. And with only a few votes to spare, we can't afford that. The Trump agenda is literally at risk tomorrow. That's why people from all over the country sent this guy millions of dollars, because they want to stop President Trump.
And in addition to that, he's a real whack job, isn't he?
He's a complete whack job. I mean, he doesn't believe not only in defunding the police, he wants to disarm the police. He is a proud socialist. He doesn't lie. He made a big deal about getting Bernie Sanders' endorsement on Friday. He is, frankly, conservative for the squad. He wants to end our relationship with Israel, recognize Palestine. I mean, all of these crazy liberal ideas. He wants to let kids have their body parts cut off and make taxpayers pay for it. All the things we fought against in November, this guy is against all of them. And that's why we got to beat him tomorrow. People got to go and vote. If they don't know where to vote, then go to my website, voterandyfine.com. They can find their precinct, and they got to be there at 7 o'clock or, lunchtime in order to make sure they vote.
Let's post that again, Rich, so people know where to go. He's a Marxist Islamist. That's what he is. He's on the wrong side of the war. He's also a radical kook. Bernie Sanders is more than a socialist. He is what he is. And of course, these people are absolutely nuts. Now, the idea that in Florida's 6th Congressional District, it shouldn't even be close, America, and particularly the people in this district, the only reason it'll be close is because you don't come out and vote. So it's not just a matter of winning now, even though that's on the line. Let's be honest, it's on the line. We need to crush this guy. We need to crush all the speculation out there about, look at this. So the Republicans are having a problem. They poured in a fortune from all over the country. They've made it a national race. Randy Fine was running like a candidate for Congress, and all of a sudden it's, wait a minute, I'm running against the whole damn Democrats in the entire country. Right, Randy?
That's absolutely right. And by the way, we've outraised the guy in the Congressional District. We've outraised him in Florida. His money's coming from all over the country, frankly, if not all over the world, through Act Blue, because, he's an Islamist. And so we don't even know where he gets all this money. But yeah, it is a national race. It's going to say a lot about President Trump's agenda, and we need to win, and we need to win big, which is why Republicans and conservatives need to get out and vote tomorrow.
And remind everybody some of the towns in your district.
The district starts in Daytona Beach, goes all the way up to the outskirts of St. Augustine, goes all the way over to the outskirts of Gainesville and Ocala. It's basically all or part of Volusia, Flagler, Lake, St. John's, Putnam, and Marion counties. If you live in Florida, you know what that means.
It sounds like a damn big district.
It's bigger than the state of Connecticut.
Mm-hmm. Well, almost everything is. No offense. All right. Well, good luck to you, folks. This is it. Tomorrow's the day. Don't sit back. Oh, it'll be taken care of. No, it's not going to be taken care of. You have got to do this. So I want to put out a Levin surge. We want to help get Randy elected. All you Levinites and patriots in that district, Levin surge. Tomorrow's the day. Get up early. Go get a donut, get a cup of coffee, and go vote. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's an honor to be on your show.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Come on now. We can pull that through. We can pull that through. It's not the end of the world. We can do this. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You have Lesley Stahl, Lesley Coleslaw, whatever her name is, right out of the box lying about what took place with Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas. Lying right out of the box. It's disgusting. So let's play that again, and then I want you to keep an eye on the next clip, Mr. Biz. Let's go with cut 9. Go ahead.
12 days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu resumed the bombing of Gaza, breaking a fragile ceasefire that was exceedingly popular with Israelis. 24 hostages
now, that's enough. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Over at Blaze Media, which is a great media site, over at Blaze Media, millions of non-citizens, listen to this, folks, this is what I mean, and the Democrats are attacking the people who've uncovered it. Millions of non-citizens received Social Security numbers, and some even voted. Candace Hathaway at Blaze Media. During a Sunday evening town hall in Wisconsin, Elon Musk revealed that more than 4.8 million non-citizens have been given Social Security numbers since fiscal 2021. You know, I hear people say, as I've said years ago, that the whole point of this immigration thing is to bring in more Democrats. And they were not saying that. They were too scared. I wrote a piece about this 25 years ago in National Review. And the Wall Street Journal editorial page called me a restrictionist. And my response was, correct. That's what immigration law is about. I'm a restrictionist. Well, they were promoting an amendment, a 5-word amendment saying, thou shalt have illegal immigration. No, thou shalt have open borders, which is worse than illegal immigration because it includes illegal immigration and much more. And then in my book, Liberty and Tyranny, which is what, 15, 16 years old now. Many of you read it. An entire chapter dealing with this. Then in subsequent books dealing with this. Then on radio dealing with it day in and day out. Using this platform like nobody's ever used it before. Using this platform to stop a vote on this phony immigration reform that George W. Bush was suggesting. This platform. We started it 2.5 decades ago. We've kept it up, and we've talked about it now, how they want to reshape the electorate. That's what we keep saying because the New York Times reshape the electorate. That's exactly what's done here. When we come back after the break, 4.8 million non-citizens have been given Social Security numbers just since fiscal year 2021, the Biden regime. I want to get into this with you because it's very important, because they're destroying Social Security. Your tax money is being given to people who don't deserve it, and they're doing this to try and create more and more citizens. I'll be right back. Only 2 things in life are certain, death and taxes. Well, now there's a third certainty. If you're with the big wireless providers, you could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. That's right, Pure Talk, my sponsor, my cell phone company, is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Listen to this. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can keep your phone and your number. So do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, to start saving right now, today. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans, for Americans.
Mark Levin, radio's principled patriot. Call in now at 877-381-3811.
I want to get into this Social Security issue with you folks. It's unbelievable. And it gets almost no attention. Almost no attention. What is this phrase, populist? People even know what that word means? Even know the history of the political movements behind populists? I mean, look at your Constitution. Look at your Constitution. What is your Constitution all about? Is it about majority rule and populism? No, it's a representative republic. If it's populism, that means you're going to have plebiscites all the time. That would be the purest form of populism. And you'll lose 90% of the time. Look at your Declaration of Independence. It talks about unalienable rights. Does it talk about populism? No, those are unalienable rights. Those are rights that come from God. It doesn't matter what any other human being on the earth has to say, or a collection of them, or a majority of them. Populism. Does populism ensure liberty? Voting doesn't even ensure liberty. Quote-unquote democracy doesn't even ensure liberty. Liberty. I just wish people who know better and have big platforms would be a lot smarter about how they use words. Oh, it's populism. No, it's not populism. It's small r republicanism. Populism was the French Revolution with the off with their head gang. But can't the Marxists claim, at least in the initial phases of Marxism, they're populist too? Right? When they have their little revolutions? It's just a strange word to apply to eternal truths, natural law, natural rights, the right of the consent of the people. Well, that's popular. No. That's the right of the consent of the people. It's called representative government. Not a direct, we don't have any direct role. The only direct role we have is in electing House members, but that's it. That's not even really a direct role. And that's okay. Because you don't want mob rule. Mob rule leads to anarchy. Mob rule leads to tyranny. Mob rule is not about principles. It's not about rights. It's not about freedom. It's mob rule. Well, I hope people understand what I'm saying, Mr. Producer. This audience, they will. Let's get to Social Security. This is a big deal. It's a big story. I'm reading from the Blaze website, Blaze Media, Candace Hathaway. During a Sunday evening town hall in Wisconsin, Elon Musk revealed that more than 4.8 million non-citizens have been given Social Security numbers since fiscal year 2021. That's a problem in a lot of ways. That means they're getting Social Security, certainly have access to it. It also means that number is used for 1,000 different things, getting loans, credit, so forth and so on. Musk explained that Antonio Gracias, the founder and CEO of Valor Equity Partners, has been assisting the federal government with reducing wage fraud and abuse within Social Security Administration. He noted the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, previously found 20 million deceased individuals marked alive in the agency's database. What a disaster. This is a scandal and it's in every department, wherever you look. And I'm going to explain this in the new book, too, Mr. Producer, okay? Doesn't that make sense? There's a whole ideological approach to this, to who these people are and why this is going on. I want us to talk about this. Graces joined Musk on stage to share a shocking chart showing a breakdown of the number of non-citizens who receive Social Security numbers under the Biden administration. Ready for this, America? And if you're on Social Security or almost on Social Security or pay into Social Security, this affects you. You better pay attention. How many non-citizens got Social Security numbers, cards? 270,000 plus in fiscal year 2021. 590,000 plus in 2022. 964,000 in 2023. 2,095,000 in 2024. You got that? And so far in 2025, 900,000. You go, well, that's Trump. Yeah, but Trump's trying to do something about it right now. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? Grassley stated. This literally blew us away. And Musk called it mind-blowing. We went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident, he said. That's Grassley. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. Of course he's right. He explained how the Biden regime made it possible for millions of non-citizens to obtain Social Security numbers. Here's what he said. When you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You can come in through a port of entry. You can tell them, that is the Border Patrol, that you're afraid that they'll give you asylum or give you an asylum case. Another way is to go to the border, and you just walk up to a border officer and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They can charge you with a misdemeanor or felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense like a parking ticket. Grassley stated that under Biden, officers at the border were ordered to issue administrative offenses, which allowed foreign nationals to pour into the country and stay here for years on their court dates to review their immigration status. During that waiting period, some could apply for work authorization, which would prompt the Social Security Administration to send them Social Security numbers through the mail. No interview, no ID. They were just sending them through the mail. Elon Musk added, people sometimes think that under Biden administration, he was simply asleep at the switch. They weren't sleeping at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible. Ultimately, they changed the entire voting map of the United States. I'm glad people have caught up with me. I really am. It's a great thing because it's true. And disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape. Yep. One-party state. We've talked about that over and over again. That's what's going on. Gracie has said, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I would have believed it. Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system, from Social Security, all the benefit programs, have been set to max inclusion, max people for these people, and minimum collection. He stated that 1.3 million of the non-citizens who received Social Security numbers were also receiving Medicaid. The answer the Democrats have is the Republicans want to cut Medicaid. See what I mean? What was really, really disturbing, he said, and so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. You know what we found? We found people registered to vote. And who did vote, Musk remarked. And Grassley stated that those individuals have been referred for prosecution. And this is what they do, and this is how they did it. Social Security. $50 to $100 billion in fraud and waste every single year. And then there's Medicaid they get on. And then there's voting. Look, I got my Social Security number. What do you want? This is horrendous. The Democrats knew it, and the Democrats did it. Really shocking, isn't it? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. Well, now there's a third certainty. If you're with the big wireless providers, you could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. That's right, Pure Talk, my sponsor, my cell phone company, is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Listen to this. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can keep your phone and your number. So do this. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, to start saving right now, today. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans, for Americans. Oh, my God. It's unbelievable here. So the Democrats are out there talking about themselves because that's what they do best. Although they don't even do that well anymore. What do we stand for? What do we stand for? And I want to dig into this. Beyond the surface level stuff, we're going to dig into this. Stick with me. Here is a guy, Michael Bennet, from Colorado. Senator, cut 15, go.
I do agree that the Democratic Party brand is really problematic, and I think that it is a brand that is, with all respect to my colleague from California, is associated with New York and with California, is associated with the educated elites in this country, and not anymore with working people in this country.
Let me tell you what's really going on, because nobody seems to get it. And I get it. And again, this will be addressed in a different way when the book comes out. But I want to address it nonetheless behind the microphone here. The Democrats know what they stand for. Remember the book, Democrat Party Hates America? The Democrat Party knows what they stand for. They don't stand for capitalism, so they stand for socialism. They don't stand for a secure border, so they stand for an open border. They don't stand for a strong military, so they stand for a weak military. They don't stand for genuinely legitimate elections, so they stand for electoral fraud. They don't stand for women or girls. They have a real hate-on for women and girls, which is why they don't believe in that women and girls should have their own athletic programs. So we know what they stand for. They know what they stand for. So it's not a question of what do we stand for. It's not a question of the brand. The problem is the American people don't stand with them on these issues, so they're not going to change fundamentally. Certainly the base, which controls the party, is not going to fundamentally change. They're disputing, fighting over, trying to figure out how to message. What kind of new lies they can come up with. What kind of new tales they can come up with. They know exactly what they are. We know exactly what they are. They're American Marxists. They still talk about class warfare, the billionaires, the millionaires versus the little guy. They still try that stuff. But it's not working. Why isn't it working? Because that stuff has an appeal to a point. But when it doesn't produce, then it ceases to have an appeal. See, I don't think their situation is as dire as people think. I think Donald Trump was a truly unique candidate, a truly unique president, a truly unique person. Blue-collar billionaire, that's the phrase I coined for him. But it really wasn't Trump who was the first to go after blue-collar workers. Our buddy Craig Shirley, the great historian, will tell you this too. It was Reagan. He won the blue-collar vote. He won the union vote. He won the endorsement of the Teamsters. Twice. He broke the Democrat Party coalition. Trump broke the Democrat Party coalition. One of the men who also was one of the earliest to do this was Rick Santorum out of Pennsylvania. Rick won 2 tough elections. He probably shouldn't have won either, but he did. He lost the third one thanks to George W. Bush and the architect, and what they were doing with Medicare and Social Security. Pennsylvania is an older state. It's got a lot of seniors in it. And so he lost big off-season there. Not because of him, because Bush and Rove dragged him down. And they did that not only in Pennsylvania, but other places too. It's not even populism. Populism doesn't say anything. And the other thing that Reagan and Trump did, and we've talked about this, but it gets lost in all the static with all these people. They never used the Marxist propaganda, the rich against the poor, the oppressed versus the oppressor. That's what some of these populists do when they talk about big pharma. Excuse me? Big pharma, big oil, big... You're talking like a Marxist. You're talking like Bernie. That's not what they do. It's certainly not what Reagan did. They understood, and Trump understands more than anybody. It's the ruling class versus the people. It's not an economic issue. Elon Musk is the wealthiest man on the face of the earth. He stands with the people, not with the ruling class. The ruling class is trying to destroy him. And he's not the only wealthy person they're trying to destroy. And he's not the only wealthy person who stands with the people. So this was never a class warfare battle, any more than it's a populist battle. This is a battle between we, the people, and the ruling class, and to retain our republicanism. See, here's the thing. You and I don't want to destroy our society. We want to keep it. You and I don't want to destroy our Declaration and our Constitution. We want to keep it. We want them to be vibrant. We want them to be enforced. Well, then you're not a populist. Because populists have problems with the Constitution. They have problems with the barriers that are placed in the Constitution. You're just an American-loving citizen. I used to say it's about Americanism. And that is true. That's what it is. None of these other isms. It's Americanism. That's what it's about. You know, the biggest problem these ideologies have, particularly Marxism. Marx said that socialism is the last stage before Marxism. You know what? Let me hold that. The biggest problem that Marxism and socialism and all these isms have is, I will fill in the blank. We'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Oh, I know you're all sitting on the edges of their chair, aren't they, Mr. Medusa? I'll tell you, welcome back. What's the biggest problem with Marxism? There's actually several. I'll give you a few, but what's the biggest one? Other than it being an absurdity. Marxism talks about an endpoint for human beings. That is, somehow the state will wither away. This workers' paradise will reveal itself. He writes in the Communist Manifesto, but you need to read more than that. And you don't have to read anything. I'm just telling you that there'll be a period of despotism. Look at every single communist regime on the face of the earth. There is no period of despotism. It's all despotism. But it is an impossible ideology. And so you wind up murdering people, destroying any possibility of a social existence outside the state. So you destroy the churches, you destroy the mosques, you destroy the people. You have to monitor all communications. You have secret police. You have family members ratting out family members. There is no family structure per se, no nuclear family. But that's not what I'm talking about. That's bad enough. Communism and most of the isms, period, but on the left too, these ideologues who are philosophers, They talk about what's going to happen in the end. Rousseau does, Hegel does, Marx does. And Marx is my focus because that's the one that's had the most influence in this country and worldwide. There is no end point. That's the problem for him. Man is always evolving. There's no end point, then suddenly everybody stops, Mr. Producer. We've reached the workers' paradise. Now, how stupid is that? The state is going to wither away. Yeah, we'll tell that to the ruling class. And their ruling class has no intention of ever withering away. The whole thing is a sickening comedy that has resulted in the death of 100 million people to try and get them to follow something that is impossible, something that can never work, ever. And yet, why does it matter? Because who are the Democrats? Who are the Democrats? Wrote another book called American Marxism. They're the American Marxists. They have tailored Marxism to America. So you get identity politics. Even this guy, this senator, Roger Marshall. Mises says everybody talks and thinks like a Marxist now. Well, listen to this guy. If you point out that Qatar is a terrorist state funding terrorism, it's because you have an identity issue with these problems. These people, you have a problem with Muslims and particularly with Qataris. If you point out that they're funding terrorism and you have the specifics, you have the goods, thanks to investigations done by universities, by think tanks who look at the money, and lots of it they can't even follow. That's how it's covered up. But you see my point? There is no end point to humanity. That suddenly everybody's eyes are open and their ears are open. You've reached a point of absolute symmetry and equity, as they like to say. Complete equitable balance. It can't happen and it won't happen, and that's not how humanity works. So this whole idea of historicism, really first it was Hegel, then it was Marx who took it and applied it to materialism. That is, that you have this inevitable conflict between the oppressed and the oppressors, inevitable conflict between the wealthy and the less wealthy, that is the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. This inevitable conflict, and it just, according to Hegel, you keep having this until it gets resolved. It's finally resolved. It's resolved in the perfect state. Not state of mind, state, government, the perfect state. Now, it helped that he was a philosopher for the government of Prussia, which was no democracy. Or the withering away of the state. You just don't need a state anymore because everybody is for everybody. And those who aren't have been eliminated. So this whole idea about individuality, that's got to go. The whole idea, these founders in America, what a bunch of fools. Looking at faith and God and natural, well, how stupid is that? Okay, the reason why this is all important, certainly for the world, because of the slaughter that's taken place in the name of this preposterous, absurd ideology, but because it informs many of the Democrat leadership, many in the media, and certainly their academia. It informs them. This is what they. This is the mindset everything is processed through, which is absurd. And so that's why I said to you, they know what they stand for. It's just a matter of how do they communicate these things. How do we communicate it? Christopher Murphy of Connecticut is a particularly evil and stupid man. He was on Fox News Sunday. I guess he was on with Shannon Breen. This guy, I would just tell Shannon, he's available to everybody. He's not a good get. I mean, he's like scratching at the door of every news organization, just pointing it out. Cut 14, go.
I think we have become the status quo party. We're a pretty judgmental party filled with a dozen litmus tests. We don't let you in unless you agree with us on kind of everything from gender rights to reproductive rights to gun control to climate. We've got to be a party that invites people in.
A party that invites people in. Is that the Democrat Party? If anything, they want to be a party that deceives you and wants you to believe they're inviting people in. Look how they're treating Elon Musk and his people. Does that sound like a party that wants to invite you in? Just a few months ago, they were calling you neo-Nazis. Does that sound like a party that wants to invite you? He's among them. Not necessarily with that phrase, but he's among them, the most harsh of them all. It's just like when they always say, we need to work together, we need to tone down the rhetoric, violence is too much. But that's what they do. They're not going to tone down anything. So they're putting out lies, propaganda. These are demagogues. That's what they do. That's what they do. So you heard him, and you heard Michael Bennett. Ridiculous. Meanwhile, the Republican headquarters, I forget what state it was in, Mr. Producer, was burned, was firebombed. We have all the violence going on against Elon Musk's people, against people who drive his cars, many of you, against dealerships, still going on. Still going on. What is it? New Mexico. So the Republican headquarters in New Mexico was firebombed. And this is, it's like something like this is happening every day or every other day, whether it's Elon Musk's company and the dealerships and the cars there, or if you happen to be a Jew in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're attacked by these people, almost all of whom identify as Democrats, quite frankly. See, that's the problem, Roger Marshall, right there. But forget it. You're a lost cause. You're just too dumb. I'm just being honest, folks. It's just my view of this guy. You can be a senator, so what? I gave him the 2025 dumbest Republican in the Senate, didn't I, Mr. Producer, my award? I think so. He deserved it. He earned it. Look how violent they are. They want to talk about January 6th. This stuff's happening every day. Every day. And yet, the back of the hand from the rest of the media. The back of the hand. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, Donald Trump has called Chuck Schumer a Palestinian. And, of course, for that he's called a racist. Well, why is he called a racist? Does he say something bad about Palestinians? He's basically saying Chuck Schumer supports the Palestinians more than he does Jews. How is that racist? So I ignore all that crap, all that claptrap, and I would agree with him. Chuck Schumer's a Palestinian, certainly more Palestinian than he is Jew. Now, why do I say that? Well, he's certainly born a Jew. Because there are Jews and there are Jews, just like there are Catholics and there are Catholics, and there are this and there are that. Chuck Schumer has tried to have it both ways. On the one hand, he tries to un-Jew himself, a phrase I don't know if I coined it, but I use it. On the other hand, he waves it around when he thinks it helps him. I don't like it. But Josh Shapiro is no different, the governor of Pennsylvania. No different. So what did he do? Josh Shapiro, Daniel Greenfield, writes, doled out $5 million in taxpayer money to the Al-Aqsa Islamic Society in Philadelphia, which featured an imam who preached that, quote, the Jews are the vilest people, unquote. Shapiro claimed the mosque needed the money because of rising hate. I guess the $5 million solves that, huh? Now, he spent that $5 million because he's going to run for president in the Democrat primary, and he's Jewish. So the fact that he's a Jew creates a Jew problem. I don't like this guy. I don't like anything about this guy. I think he's a fraud and a phony. $5 million. And this organization featured this imam who preached that the Jews are the vilest people. Surely he knows that. But it doesn't matter. It's a big organization. The Al-Aqsa Islamic Society in Philadelphia. That's why he did it. Politics through and through. He also knows that the liberal Jews and the Democrat Jews, 99.9% of them don't care. They'll vote for him. Sure. That's our boy Josh. Wink, wink. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That's right. And then here's something that was big in Israel. It was big at the New York Post, but it's not big on the network, cable or network TV. Hamas terrorists torture protester, a Palestinian protester protesting Hamas. They torture him to death. They leave his bludgeoned body on his family's doorstep as a sick warning to others, writes Anthony Blair. Hamas thugs fatally tortured a young Palestinian man protesting their rule and left his body on his family's door. Guy's a good-looking guy, too. It's really sad, you know? You know, people talk about there's Palestinians who want peace. Here you got one. He's tortured and he's murdered by Hamas. Nobody talks about it. Mr. Producer, I'll bet you nobody else on radio is talking about it but me, you know? Uday Arabe, 22, was beaten for 4 hours and died after he participated in an anti-Hamas protest in the Palestinian territories last week, said a senior officer affiliated with the opposition Fatah party. Uday was martyred by the criminals of Hamas. And what's his crime? He told the truth. Because he refused to be silent on injustice, because he did not heal Hamas, said Mazan shot a police officer tied to Fatah to the Telegraph. The victim's body was swollen and bloody in the attack. According to pictures purportedly of Uday that were shared on the message app Telegram. Again, he's a good-looking young man. Gaza has seen major protests in recent weeks against Hamas. I'm not buying that. They're minor protests at best. Minor protests at best. But this kid obviously stood up, and he was murdered in a horrendous way. And I wanted to speak up for him if nobody else will. And I don't think anybody else is. Pretty sick, I would say. I wonder if Lesley Stahl is going to do anything about it on 60 Minutes. I wonder if it's going to run on any network TV. MSNBC. CNN. I wonder if CARE's going to speak out. I haven't heard from them. Maybe they did, Mr. Producer. Or Students for Justice in Palestine, or the usual front groups for the jihadists and the Islamists. You see, ladies and gentlemen, they're Muslims like this poor guy, and then there's Islamists. I'll be back.
If you're trying to reach Mark on the air, call him at 877-381-3811. The Mark Levin Radio Show continues.
New York Post, Kremlin goes into damage control, insisting work is underway despite Trump getting, quote, pissed off, unquote, at Putin. Moscow claimed things were still amicable with Washington as it ordered the conscription of 160,000 new Russian troops. See, this is Putin. This is what he always... So they're conscripting another 160,000 troops. They've lost about 250,000. Can you believe that? There are literally things now going on in Russia that you're not hearing about. Like there was a limousine not far from his home. They have these different types of limousines, but for security reasons. One of them was blown up. His secret police are checking the manholes on the roads around his homes or where he speaks. You're calling up another 160,000 conscripts. That's a big deal. Now, at the same time, he claims he wants peace. He's really hammering Ukraine even more. But Ukraine's waged a really Herculean battle. I'm very proud of that country and those people. I really am, despite all the crap you hear here, even among our friends. Some of them are getting even worse. It's just crazy. But those people want to be free. That's why they're fighting and putting everything on the line. And they didn't invade anybody. They were invaded. But the fact of the matter is they have done tremendous damage to Russia, the Russian military, and so forth. Well, what about the Ukrainian military? Well, there's no question about that, but Ukraine is about a fourth of the size, population-wise. Anyway, Trump shook up the Kremlin on Sunday when he voiced his first real rebuke of Putin after the Russian strongman called for Ukrainian President Zelensky to be ousted by his own generals and doubled down on his threat to whack Russia oil with tariffs, that is, Trump did, if an end to the war isn't reached within a month. What Putin is saying is, we can't have a deal as long as Zelensky's the president. Either new elections or the gen. Trump's saying, you know what? You don't get to decide all that stuff. That's ridiculous. You're just dragging your feet, which is what he's doing, which is what Iran's doing. Dmitry Peskov, the spokes idiot, tried to downplay Trump's outrage and insisted Moscow and Washington are still actively working to rebuild relations after they were cut off under the Biden regime. No. We're working on implementing some ideas related to Ukraine's settlement, he said. Work is underway. But the Kremlin's actions do not align with its words. Putin on Monday ordering the conscription of 160,000 new troops between now and July 15. Peskov also rebuked Trump's claim the U.S. and Russia presidents will be talking again this week. The spokesman saying no such appointment was on the books, but it could be quickly organized if necessary. I wonder if Lesley Stahl is going to come out and say that Trump, there we are having beautiful ceasefire talk, but Trump interfered. Lesley, you are a stupid old lady. You really are. I was disappointed in a certain way. Some of the things that Putin said over the last day or two having to do with Zelensky. Because when he considers Zelensky not credible, he's supposed to be making a deal with him, whether you like him or not. So I wasn't happy about that, Trump said. Trump's rebuke comes, well, it's the first time they say here. And good for him. He also had words to say about Iran. Iran's basically told Trump to go pound sand. And there are reports that I'm sure President Trump has seen them. I have posted them as well. China and Russia are working with Iran to try and beat the Trump 2-month deadline. 2 months to have a conversation and to get somewhere on this deal, or all hell's going to break loose. That's what Trump has basically said. And so now China and Russia are speeding along even faster Iran's nuclear program to beat that deadline, and I'm sure Trump's well aware of it. Excuse me. And he sees that too. I wonder what Lesley Stahl thinks about that in her pea brain 4 IQ. Probably not much, and we don't really care. I'm just mocking her. But that is the truth. That is what's going on. President Trump in a third term. Isn't it funny how Trump can get the media, all of them, to focus on anything he wants, in any way he wants? Third term, it's come up. That's what he said. He said, I haven't given it much thought, but I'm thinking about it. You know, I have to see if it's possible. Some people say it is, and so forth and so on. So, Mark, what do you think? See, that's the game. I don't think he cares because he's not going to do it. It's number one. Number two, read it. President can't serve more than 10 years. Oh, Mark, that means he can run and in 2 years hand it off to J.D. Vance. No, he can't. If you are running for election for president and you cannot fulfill the terms of and the requirement of the Constitution, then you're not qualified to do it. So he couldn't serve out a full 4 years. And I think you and I would agree that no president, we don't want any of them going too long. Him we would like longer, but it is what it is. But the point is, it's not Mark Levin defying Trump. It's Trump making a mockery of the media. That's what he's doing. He's making a mockery of them. And I suspect he'll keep doing it. Because he enjoys it. Because they're nuts. That's why. They're crazy. He's not. They are. Which is why they've utterly destroyed themselves since Trump has been on the public scene. Political scene, I should say. They've utterly destroyed themselves. Nobody believes the media anymore. Even the media don't believe the media anymore. Carolyn Levitt, outside the White House today, cut 17. Go.
Method would the president use to potentially run for a third term? As he said, there are methods there.
Look, you guys continue to ask the president this question about a third term, and then he answers honestly and candidly with a smile, and then everybody here melts down about his answer. The president was talked about this last night on the plane. He said, it's not really something we're thinking about. He has 4 years. There's a lot of work to do. We've done a lot in these nearly first 100 days, and the American people love what this president is doing, particularly when it comes to efforts to secure the border.
You know, I've never been on Air Force One, Mr. Producer. Have you? I've never been on Air Force. These people, they're on Air Force One all the time. When we sat on the plane, we do that and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm sure many of my fellow broadcasters have been. I'm sure they've asked, and they get on there. I don't ask for stuff. But, man, wouldn't that be fun? Let's go to Jonathan, Dallas, Texas, on the Mark Levin app. Jonathan, how are you, my friend? In Dallas, go right ahead.
I'm okay. I've been better. I find myself a little upset just with everything. You know, of course, we love Trump being around and whatnot, but given, you know, just when you overhear that the judge says, I have equity, his equity is equal to the president, if not more, obviously. It's just, I take it personally, and it's just another layer of the...
Yeah, it's very upsetting. Yeah?
Very upsetting.
What did you call
Very
about? Because
upsetting.
we're going to run out of time.
Well, I'm glad to speak with you. Many things. I guess here in particular today, in North Texas, I enlightened one of your producers or whomever about Epic City, Islamic, East Plano Islamic Center, a 402-acre enclave that some of these Republicans and judges, I guess, think is okay. And it's not. It's just outrageous.
I'm not following you. So there's 400 acres that have been set aside for what, an Islamic center?
An Islamic enclave, so Islamic believers
community?
Only for Islamic folks.
Is that even legal, only for Islamic folks? Let me ask you this. Who's paying for this?
That's a great question. I'm thinking the same thing. Where's all this money coming from? Has to, over here in North Texas, every little home is $500,000 at minimum. So, yeah, there's a ruling today.
So 400 acres, it's called an Islamic enclave, and an Islamic enclave is what, like a development for Muslims?
Cool. Yes, sir. Only Muslims exclusively.
How can you do that exclusively? That's not legal.
Great question. Oh, but a judge is supposed to rule on it today. It's a great question.
What did he say? Or she? Or it?
So I had to work today, and I couldn't make it, but not too sure. But I know that in Plano particular, now McKinney, the county court is where this happened. And basically, it looks like it didn't go too well. I'm not too sure. Ken Paxton, just a few days ago, announced an investigation into it. Governor Abbott is, I guess, sanctioning them as well because East Plano Islamic Center has a funeral service that they've been not abiding by the law, no permits. So I think because of a lot of noise, the governor and attorney general has been dipping into it. But just the mere fact that it's happening.
Well, it's very interesting. It wasn't on my radar. We'll look into that. Thank you, Jonathan. You take care of yourself. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
What are with these new bats? I'm not understanding this that the Yankees are doing. We're using. What is this? I've never heard anything like that. Well, isn't that a problem? I mean, if you're going to keep statistics team to team, year to year, decade to decade, generation to generation, if it's some kind of a new fancy bat, I'm not for it because I mean, I know the Yankees are really good, but that's a lot of home runs, Rich. Something's not right there. Torpedo bats. Something's not right, in my humble opinion. I'm not against the Yankees. I'm just for the Phillies. But that's a whole other story, Rich. Something's not right to me. All right, let's go. Mark, St. Paul, Nebraska, XM Satellite. How may I help you, sir?
Just fine, Mark. You're doing, your topics are hitting right on. Your topic with Goldberg and his letting the taxes out for, letting media...
Espionage Act.
Oh, yes. I mean, treason all the way. I mean, the border. I mean, you're hitting everything. The border, treasonous. I mean, I don't know why Biden's not in prison right now. And
he's in his own prison, the prison of his mind.
Right. I mean, but the rest of his, cronies. And then with, in the Social Security. I mean, people work hard for that money for many years. I know I have. You're around my age. And guess what? And we won't be able to collect that Social Security.
No, and they're giving it away to illegal lands, and not just a few, millions and millions and millions. And then a certain percentage of them are on the voter registration list. And the media pretend this stuff's not happening. It's crazy. No wonder they hate Elon Musk. This is why we like Elon Musk.
I love Elon Musk and Mr. Trump. I mean, I knew Trump once he got a chance to get Congress and Senate behind him. I knew. But these judges they have right now, I know how he is.
I'm leading that charge, baby. I'm leading this charge on the judges. And everybody's talking about it now and writing about it now. But you remember, I was saying day one when they were doing this, they got to be defunded. You can remove them by, not impeachment, remove them by eliminating their courthouse. Because impeachment requires a supermajority in the Senate. You're not going to get it with the Democrats and even some of the Republicans. So let's do something we can actually do. You can create judges, Congress can, and they can eliminate judges. And they eliminated judges in the 1803 Judiciary Act. Jefferson and his party, the Republicans, eliminated the 16 judges that the Federalists created 1 month before they left office. So we know you can do it. History tells us, but the Constitution itself allows it. That's what they need to do, and they got to figure out how to do it to get around the filibuster. And the only way that is this so-called budget reconciliation. I don't pretend to understand all the minutia, but the people who do up there better figure it the hell out. Good call, brother. Thank you, Mark. Let's move quickly. Jay, Hudson Township, New Jersey. Jay, how are you?
Yeah, hey, Mark, I'm good.
I'm not going to get into Steve Witkoff. I'm not going to get into the individual staffers who work for Trump. I don't know them. I don't talk to them very much. I've only talked to that gentleman once in my life, so when I know more, I'll talk more. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our truckers, the men and women in Ukraine, the men and women in Israel, and you, the men and women of the United States, the best of the best. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.